If your company is pushing 5 million in revenue and growth feels harder than ever, you're not alone. What got you here, founder-driven selling, strong relationships, that scrappy marketing, won't get you to the next level. In fact, it might be the thing that's holding you back. Today, I'm going to show you the 2 mistakes almost every founder makes at this stage, why adding more vendors actually makes things worse, and what consolidation actually looks like. If you got a LinkedIn person, your content freelancer, your Google Ads agency, and you're still the one connecting the dots, this one's for you. If your marketing isn't broken because you're not doing enough, it's broken because there's nothing connected. At 5 million, most founders think they need more marketing, more content, more ads, more channels, another freelancer added to the mix. But in my opinion, that's actually the problem. You got the LinkedIn guy, you got your Google Ads person, the content freelancer that you meet with, your maybe an agency that's doing out separate. They're all working on their own schedule in their silos, and none of them know what the other is doing. And you're really the one that sees the full picture, which usually means you're basically the marketing coordinator on top of being the closer and running operations. So that's not scalable. It starts to become a trap for you. And where I see the pattern is that we are talking with over the last 5 years now. You're gaining the traction. Referrals are really starting to come in. You're starting to see that revenue grow quarter after quarter, and you think okay, we need to start ramping up our marketing. Maybe add another channel to the mix, spend more on Google Ads, and probably hire someone to post content. Each of them seem pretty reasonable, and each one's doing their own thing. But what no one tells you is that you're probably making these 2 mistakes at once. And the first mistake, I should say, is really you're fighting for just these 3%. You're running Google Ads and maybe a lot of SEO, bottom of the funnel stuff there. And people are actually searching for your solution now. And this works, but you're really just fighting for a small sliver. So think of this, 97% of your market is not in service for what you're selling today. They're not searching. Most people, you're not spending all day on Google looking for your solution here. Many of them, they don't even know they have a problem yet. So you're fighting against bigger competitors with bigger budgets, and for just like a tiny sliver of the demand that you need to capture that demand there. Every year that sliver gets more expensive, and the returns start to get smaller. So you start seeing diminished returns and return on your investment there. And you're not creating demand. You're basically just trying to capture whatever is already there, probably what some of your competitors have already worked on for months. So you're already at a disadvantage. Sure, you might close some, you might get some leads, but they don't know you. And that brings me to the second, little bit different mistake I see is you're scratching too many, you're scratching surfaces on too many channels. You possibly have LinkedIn ads running. Maybe you're posting sporadic content on your page. You might have tried some outbound. You're probably thinking about doing some YouTube videos, or you've seen a lot of people talk about the benefits of Reddit, so you want to try that. But you're not really going deep in there. You're not getting the full price out of every channel. And going deep is where that gold is. If your audience is on LinkedIn, that means you should be doing not just ads. You should be doing, you maybe think about thought leader ads. You should be doing like that thought leadership on your page. Your team should be getting involved. You all should be doing thoughtful commenting, social selling, and maybe even LinkedIn lives. These are all ad statements. So that's how you go deep. You want to be seen. If you think about, if you're running ads, you can see the company ads. You can see your thought leadership ads showing up as like organic posts. You can be commenting on the conversations that your target accounts and the buying groups already having, maybe on influencers or on their their posts, now you're being seen and you're seeing added value and you're really growing, building trust. That's going deep, and that's how you start standing out. But most founders at this stage, they're just scratching the surface on 5 different channels instead of just dominating 1 or 2, because that's their bandwidth and budget. And here's the thing is that your LinkedIn posts aren't connected to your ads. Your ads aren't connected to your content. The content isn't connected to what's actually happening in the sales conversation. So then you just start seeing things happen in silos. You got everyone just doing whatever they can do at that day, and you never this is where you start to see, like, you start getting a little bit of like that buyer's remorse. Wondering why marketing isn't working, and when that could kind of get you by because you got referrals, you're kind of growing at a decent clip. But before you get to that 5 million, you can like allow this to happen, and little LinkedIn here, some ads here, that's fine, and can put her along. So but where I see this number at 5 million is you really need that actual pipeline. You're probably hiring people at this point. You got people's livelihoods at stake. You got your thought, like, do you want to just be stuck in the mud every day, or do you want to actually build a business? You need that predictable pipeline, and that requires a coordination, not just activity. So what does activity look like? Activity is just these terms, I would say, things like, we need to post 3 times a week. We need to, we're running $5,000 a month on Google ads. You might be publishing a blog post every 2 weeks, sending cold email through some tool like instantly. But these things happen, and they can all be part of your plan, and they can all add some value. But you need coordination, and coordination looks like your sales conversations informing your content. So the blog post and LinkedIn is actually timely and speaks to pain points and challenges. Your content is attracting those ideal accounts. So you're targeting accounts that are hot right now, that are maybe showing some intent or have some signals that you're tracking. You're retargeting the people and the accounts that engage with your content. And you're even taking it a step further. You can start referencing some of the types of content that your a visitor is seeing. If he's looking at some type of piece of content, you can shoot them an email or reach out to them on LinkedIn with some offer or something that really kind of moves the needle on some challenge that they have on their mind or they may be dealing with. And everything moves the same accounts through the same journey. Now, most founders at this stage, they have the activity, and there's no doubt about that. But almost none have coordination. So to me, that the reason is simple. Like, coordination requires someone who owns the full picture, and it just can't be you anymore. And then to layer that on, I would say this is where founders really make it worse. They think, okay, we need YouTube, and let me go find that YouTube consultant. We need to do LinkedIn better because this is where I think we can find some great opportunities. Let me find someone to help me here. We probably should be doing some GEO or target, making sure we're showing up in LLMs. Let me go find someone who can help me there, an agency that helps me there. Now you're managing 4, 5, 6 different people, and none of them are talking to each other. They all have their own plans, and they all have their own way they're working. And now you're the project manager. So the whole customer journey isn't documented and tracked. Everyone's trying to fight for their piece of the pie to show that what they're doing actually is warranted the money you're paying them, because they need to kind of show their value. You're not ultimately, you're not really like becoming you're kind of really like developing those relationships with your audience. You're kind of spending a lot of time doing the project management things, but you can start building rapport, start building trust, on doing those like personalized things that I talk about a lot that can help you stand out from a lot of the just automated things that we see in marketing right now. If nothing's connecting, then like it's not going to add up. So what I would say actually needs to happen here, and what companies do when they really break through the ceiling, is first they know their numbers. And look, I'm definitely not a math guy. I'm not the guy you go to when you need some complex Excel formula, or never did great math in school. But I do know the basics, because the basics kind of help you determine what you need to do to move forward. And it gives you shed some real light on how much you need to spend to drive new opportunities and new customers. And usually the numbers are much different than you think. So 3 different formulas I want you to start to know and start tracking. One is going to be that customer acquisition costs. You probably heard it called CAC. And it's a simple formula here. It's the total sales and marketing spend divided by the new customers acquired. Simple. If you spend 50,000, you get 10 new customers, $5,000 CAC. And to take it to the next step, you really need to know how much time does it take to pay back what it costs to acquire a customer. So if your CAC is 5,000 and your average customer pays $2,500 a month, your payback period is just 2 months. That's excellent. You should invest more generously, aggressively here. If your CAC's 5,000 and the average customer is paying 5,000 a month, your payback period is 10 months, and that's a little bit tighter, especially if you have a small team. So you got to be a little more cautious here. Just to give you some context, that the median CAC payback for B2B companies is around 12 to 18 months currently. And if you're under that, you're in good shape. Industry wide. But I know some of these, when you're thinking about long, months payback, you're thinking things are tight. So if you're way over, you definitely got a problem to solve. And I would, really, this is when if you've run these numbers, this is really where you can start to determine what's my budget need to be and what can it be. A lot of times right now in this zone, this under $5 million mark, you may be hesitant to pay marketing or really spend on ads or different initiatives because you're not sure if it's working. But when you see 6, 9, 12 months away, what the actual pay return is, it's worth investment. And it's just being able to be patient and put in the work. It's probably something like this is something that most founders forget. Your existing customers are probably your best growth opportunity. So if your service is $50,000 a year, what does it look like to grow these accounts? What are some upsells that you can pitch them or expand in the scope? This revenue, 0 acquisition costs, it really increases your lifetime value of a customer. It gives you a pathway for other new customers when they're coming in to start growing your value for each of those accounts. So that helps you lower your payback period. And once you know these numbers, like you may not need to focus as much on new logos, where a lot of founders right now, you're focusing on new logos and they ignore that expansion opportunity just sitting right in front of them. One thing you can do right now, set up a CRM revival or a CRM campaign, start trying to work on everything inside your current customers and see if you can grow there. And once you know that CAC, your payback period, and your expansion potential, you can make real decisions instead of just hoping. This is going to sound counterintuitive, but what I'll call a consolidation principle is you don't need more vendors. You need fewer right now. You don't need the LinkedIn person and the content person and an ads person and the outbound agency and a YouTube consultant. You need one partner who's going to start connecting everything. One team that understands your sales conversations and turns them into content. They know who you're targeting and can build campaigns around those accounts. They can connect your LinkedIn to content, to your ads, to your outbound. And, owning that full picture so you don't have to. That's the difference between scattered activity and a coordinated system. At this stage, you probably can't afford that $200,000 VP of marketing or a full team of marketers to do this all internally. Right now, you can really kind of take a step back and kind of work out your siloed vendor system. You can't keep adding vendors and then managing them yourself. This is a trap. And the answer is simple. It's just consolidation. You have one partner, one system, everything's connected. And I wouldn't be remiss to not talk about this in this year when this is the topic of every discussion and that I'm having on calls is just the AI acceleration process here. So I covered these in previous videos, some other ideas, but it's still relevant here. AI is just changing what's possible at this stage for you. It's not just for marketing, but for your whole go-to-market. Now you can build systems that take your sales call transcripts and turn them into content, help build coaching, help understand what your customers are talking about right now. So you can create real resources for them on the channels that they're spending time. You can have AI analyze what's working in your conversations and surface insights that you'd never have time to find, that you can share with your team, start closing more deals and getting people through that deal pipeline. You can build agents that prep your team for the meetings, that coach on calls and capture institutional knowledge that would take you hours before. And I've got a whole blog post on the economyspark.com about the AI agents every founder should be building right now. Check out, I'll put that link in the first comments if you want to go deeper on that. The point is simple. Like, AI is just not a writing tool. It's not a quick search engine tool. It's an operational multiplier. When you combine the AI systems with a coordinated marketing approach, you can do things that would have required a 10-person team just a year ago, 2 years ago. And you really need someone and a team that knows how to set this up and operate, someone who's thinking about AI's operations, not just content generation and just creating a bunch of AI slop today. That's part of what you should be looking for in a partner this stage. If you're finding this video helpful, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and if there's one thing you're going to take away from this video today, drop it in the comments now. Let's get the conversation going. And one thing I always like to do on these videos, I'm trying to make it a regular segment here, is just a Monday morning action plan. What you can do on Monday morning to start executing some of the things I've been talking about. And today, 3 things. 1, just calculate your customer acquisition costs. Go back over the last year, add up everything you spent on sales and marketing. Talk about ads, content creation, your emails, outbound emails, lists. Divide that by the number of customers you acquired, and that's your customer acquisition cost, baseline. Then you want to calculate your payback period. How many months of revenue from a customer on average does it take to cover the cost of acquisition? Write those numbers down, put them in an Excel sheet, or send them to your team in Slack. If you don't know them, then you can make good decisions about what to invest in. And the second thing is taking a little stock in your investments here. List every vendor, freelancer touching your marketing and sales. I'm talking about the LinkedIn guy, the content writer, ads agency, outbound tool, SEO consultant, the sales enablement team, all of them. And how many people are you managing today? Is anyone connecting the dots between them, or is that just your job? And if you've got more than 3 and no one's coordinating, or if that coordinator is you've got a fragmentation problem. And then the third thing you can do on Monday is just ask yourself this question. Could anyone on your team explain your marketing strategy? Not your tactics, your strategy. Who you're targeting, what you're saying, and how it all fits together. The difference is the bad answer is, we post on LinkedIn, we run some Google ads. Our sales team does outbound, and you just list off those activities. A great answer would be, we target mid-market manufacturing CFOs, educate them on ERP modernization through content and events, and convert them through consultative sales. That's more of a strategy there. The who, what, how, connecting it. If you can't articulate something like that, you really don't have a strategy. You don't have a full plan here. You've got scattered tactics, and it's going to start to break. So look, what I'm telling you isn't a lot of work. It's actually about doing less, but doing it in a coordinated way. You can do these couple things and prepare, and then you can work with a team that takes a lot of this off your plate, that connects all of your marketing, all of the sales activity, builds the playbook, and uses AI to multiply that capacity. You don't have to figure it all out on yourself here, but you do need to recognize when scatter tactics aren't working anymore. And if you're at 5 million and feeling this, you're not alone. This is the stage where it breaks for almost everyone. If you're getting to that $5 million stage and you're feeling good, think about be proactive before you hit this wall. And then you have to start thinking, these two things are colliding when you're actually should be taking off to the next level. The question is whether you recognize it now and consolidate, or you wait until you hit the wall and scramble. If you're sitting there with your list of vendors, realizing no one's connecting the dots but you, that's a good thing. And most founders at this stage don't even realize it yet. The key is consolidation over expansion, fewer vendors, more coordination, and most importantly, knowing your numbers so you can actually make decisions. The next best thing you can do is keep learning what works. Watch the video YouTube recommends next right here. It's tailored to help you take the next step.